4,444 steps. In the rain, slippery wood, slippery rocks, and legs that started questioning everything after step 100. We came to Flørli to take on the longest wooden staircase in the world. And we picked one day the weather really wasn't suited to climb a wooden staircase. Thing is, Flørli can only be reached by boat. The ferry runs twice a day, and all of our stuff, motorcycles, camping gear, and everything else, was waiting for us back in Lysebotn. So the plan was simple: hike up the stairs, hike down the mountain, and make it to the ferry in time. But with the weather and the trail getting harder than expected, also due to us taking the wrong turn, the real question became, will we make it back with 2 working legs each and before the boat leaves? We did it. Our day started early, like really early. It's day 6 of the motorcycle tour to Norway. We're in beautiful Lysebotn. Around 5:30 a.m. we were packing up our camp in Lysebotn. It was cold, we were tired, and surrounded by damp gear from the night's rain. Everything was wet, and nothing was fun. By 7, we boarded the small speed ferry that headed towards Flørli. Apart from the crew and one other German traveler named Matthias, who also wanted to do a hike in the mountains surrounding Flørli, we had the whole boat to ourselves. It felt calm and peaceful, almost like the calm before the storm. And honestly, we had no idea what we were walking into. Because we were chatting with Matthias, we overlooked a sign that explains that there are 2 tracks down after reaching the end of the stairs. But more about that one later. Flørli is one of those places that feels completely disconnected from the rest of the world. No roads, no cars, just a ferry dock, a few scattered buildings, and a whole lot of nature. You can only get there by boat or by hiking over the mountains. Once a hydroelectric power station, it's now known for something completely different. The longest wooden staircase in the world, 4,444 steps, running straight up the mountain, right alongside the old water pipes. Originally built for maintenance workers, now a hike labeled advanced on the Flørli website. And we decided to tackle it in the rain. Just arrived in Flørli. Let's hike the staircase. From the very first steps, we realized this wasn't going to be a normal mountain up, mountain down kind of hike. The stairs are narrow, steep, and after just a few dozen steps, dangerously slippery.
Already out of breath.
And once you're on it, after around 150 steps, there's no going back. You're not allowed to walk down the stairs. If you start, you have to finish. The only way out is up. We tried to stay smart, pausing every 100 steps to breathe, taking longer breaks every 1000 steps. Even with the rain and cooler temperatures, we started sweating quite fast. And the further we went up, the fewer layers we wore. About halfway up, we met another German couple who confirmed what we'd suspected. Going down the stairs is not an option. But apparently, there's an easy hiking path down the mountain. Good to know. Or it would have been if there would have been a sign at the top. When we finally hit the top, step 4,444, we were wrecked, but also thrilled. It's hard to explain the feeling of climbing stairs for hours and finally seeing them end. We felt proud. Then I slipped on the first rock. That was elegant.
We did it! 4,444 steps. And what a view. It's so cool. It's raining, but it's so cool.
The proud moment didn't last long. Just as we reached the very last step, exhausted, sweaty, and ready to celebrate, suddenly there he was. A shirtless guy, sprinting, like an absolute machine. He flew past us like we were standing still, running up the stairs we had just barely conquered. and then disappeared down the mountain on the other side. We hadn't seen him on the way up, and we looked back at the fjord quite a lot. Also, we never saw him again on the way down. No clue where he came from, but judging by his pace, this whole 4,444 step thing might just be his regular jogging loop. Honestly, what the f? But we also had to carry on, because we remembered we had a ferry to catch. The only way back to Lisboten was leaving in a few hours, and all of our stuff, bikes, camp gear, everything was still there. So no time to waste, or to see the old power plant. And that's where the real trouble started. At the top there's a lake, and apparently there are 2 trails around it. One easier, one much more difficult. We didn't know this. There were no signs, no forks, no warning. We just followed the most obvious path, and unfortunately, we picked the hard one. The descent quickly turned into a different kind of hike. Gone were the stairs. Now it was wet forest, boulders, mud, and bare rock slabs. At first, we tried to find a trail, but there really wasn't one. Every 50 meters or so, we spotted a red T painted onto the rocks. The only sign that we were still going the right way. Sometimes the T's were easy to see. Other times, we had to stop and search. And between them, just wet, exposed terrain. No real path, just whatever surface looked the safest to step on. The rocks were slippery, the trail barely existed, and we were wet from the rain. It wasn't just a hike anymore, it was a test of endurance, of balance, patience, and focus. And yes, we slipped a lot. Here you can see the path we took over the rocks. It looks like a zigzag. Eventually, the terrain started to change. We left the bare rock behind and entered a dense forested area. The ground was still wet and uneven, but at least now it felt more like an actual hiking trail. Then we reached a small river, and after the pathless stretch we just conquered, I didn't expect any kind of infrastructure. I spotted a few stones poking out of the water, and without thinking twice, I hopped across. One wobbly step after the next. Right after I landed on the other side, I heard my partner call out and point just upstream. There it was, a perfectly normal little bridge, stable, dry, and very obvious. I felt like a complete idiot. But I guess after a couple of hours navigating on red T's and slick boulders, you just stop expecting things like signs or bridges. And finally, after what felt like hours of navigating the unpredictable trail, we spotted the rooftops of Flørli down in the valley. We made it, soaked, exhausted, legs shaking, but still standing. When we finally arrived back in the town, we actually had some time to spare before the ferry left. Just enough for the one thing we'd been fantasizing about for hours, a hot coffee. There's a little cafe down by the water. But when we got there, it was closed. No sign, no explanation, just a locked door and a quiet deck. It was such a small thing, but in that moment it hit harder than it should have. We were cold, soaked, exhausted. Still, we made it, and we made it on time.
We did it. We are back in Flørli, and I'm completely done. This was quite a hike.
Wasn't easy, but the views were spectacular, and all in all, it really is unforgettable.